And then this past Monday night, another game in the snow in that outdoor stadium in Minnesota, there was no doubt in my mind that the total, if I was able to manipulate it down to, well, hell, I had the total at 27.5 points, that these two teams were going to go over. But again, I was a little worried with the Brett Favre news that he was probably, the minute I heard on Monday afternoon that he was going to try out his arm, I'm going, he's going to start. There's no doubt in my mind after 20 years, Brett Favre starting this game. But I thought, let me take Chicago down 6 points and make them just a pick 'em. I knew they'd at least win the game. 2 easy teaser winners. And I love teasers, but I'm just kind of curious, as I said, your perspective as a guy who took people's money, what you thought.
Well, as a former bookmaker, when we saw a customer come in playing teasers, that would always throw a flag up that this guy was a sucker. However, I can say this. Over the years, there have been countless crews, countless syndicates out of Vegas that have taken the teaser proposition and really used it to their advantage. And when these syndicates are recognized, they're immediately, thrown out of the office. So the only ones that we're left with are the suckers, and that's how we handle it. But with teasers, I always found that at this time of the year, with the lines being as sharp as they are, that to professionals, there was a distinct advantage in betting the teasers as opposed to during the regular course of the season when the lines are still all over the place. There's enough value to find in the straight-up lines at that time of the year. So for a guy like you betting teasers, well, I would have thrown you out of my office anyway. But for a regular guy out there who's making his decisions on his own, I would stay away from the teasers.
And, last week on the show, we talked about a couple of teaser possibilities. We gave them to you as free, and they would have won any way you sliced it.
That's right.
Dallas at home against Washington, Atlanta at Seattle, Oakland at home against Denver. And believe me, after watching Rex Grossman come back, I had wished I had played Dallas in a teaser. Never would have anticipated that, but c'est la vie. The other thing I always tell people is, in this business as a handicapper, you've got to have short-term memory deficit.
Oh, definitely.
I don't celebrate the wins. I don't lament the losses. I see a lot of gamblers. I see a lot of handicappers do that. They lose focus. You see a devastating loss. You suffer one of those like you had with the Giants, like I had the Cowboys last week. You know what? There's the Monday night game. There's another money-making opportunity there. You just can't say, oh, this team screwed me. I'm never going to bet on this team again. We've seen clowns do that before in this business, some big, big names. You just have to go and pick up the pieces. And I know it's hard when you lose money, but that's why I also say you don't celebrate the wins. You've got to stay even keel in this business. Back to the phones we go. We've got... I've got some technical difficulties, so we won't go back on the phone. So you're going to be stuck listening to us for a few more minutes. Hey, guys, remember, if you missed any portion of the first 20 minutes of this show, you can catch it in its entirety over at picknation.com. Also, if you happen to be watching us on foxsports.com, as you do most every Sunday throughout this football season, remember, we only telecast the first 30 minutes of the show on foxsports.com. The final 30 minutes you can catch again at picknation.com. And again, that free offer with getting the free one-day all-access pass, guys, when you do it, you sign up online. There's nobody to talk to. It's just you entering your passcode, entering your secure username, and then immediately you not only get all of our plays, mine, Steve's, the plays of all 13 handicappers at the site, but you also get all the analysis from all the handicappers breaking down the games, telling you why so-and-so is going to win or cover, because the opinion, you've got to be able to see that these guys just aren't throwing darts. We would never allow anybody that doesn't win on a rather consistent basis anyway on the site. That's the standards and the integrity that we have regarding it as well. But I think that they also have to realize that when you go to the site, you see the plays today, tomorrow you're going to see the results on every single handicapper's page.
Whether you bought the play or not. And that's the key. And what we do, Al, nobody else does it. There is no other handicapping company out there that gives away all their handicappers' plays for free with no real strings attached. And there's a good reason for it. I mean, at the end of the day, we're not here to get your money today. We want to provide to you a service that you use forever. And the best way for us to do that is to pull back the curtain and to show you exactly what you're getting involved in. And even if you're out there and you've already bought from us, and you've never experienced the all-access pass before, you've never taken advantage of the free pass before, even if you're an existing customer, you still can come today and get that all-access pass, and if nothing else, you can experience what it's like getting every hot handicapper in the country's information on every game and then making your own decision based on all that information, because that's what a lot of all-access buyers do. They'll go ahead and have the luxury of knowing what every single handicapper is on every day, and they see, which opinion jives with their own.
Another game that we want to talk about here before the first half hour of the show is up. And remember, you can catch the entire show over on picknation.com at your convenience. Steve, we talked earlier about Jacksonville. I said how they really got backdoored. Indianapolis getting the onside kickoff return for a touchdown with 1:40 to go, giving the Colts the win and, naturally, the cover against Jacksonville last week. But still, this Jacksonville team has lost 2 games in its last 7. Lost by 4 against the Giants. Lost last week at Indy. Has covered 6 of its last 7. And they are now hosting today a Washington Redskins team that, I'm telling you, it was a matter of Dallas having no defense and Washington just getting lucky, coming back and scoring all those points. It's a solid touchdown number, 7.5 points, mostly 7s. I think it's a fair price to lay with Jacksonville.
Yeah, I mean, the more Washington scored, the worse I really felt for Donovan McNabb. Haven't we seen this movie already? I can't believe what's going on with McNabb. But, Jacksonville is obviously the solid team. I think that the whole McNabb scenario has hurt Washington, has fractured them in the locker room. I think Jacksonville comes in here as strong as can be. They're no Dallas. They're not going to give up a big lead at the end of a game. I think it's safe to say that Jacksonville -6.5 might be one of those games where you would put into that 2-team teaser that you were talking about.
And that's where I was going. You read my mind. This is a prime opportunity. 6, 7, 9 points. When you have a home favorite playing well that is head and shoulders, you took out all the other mitigating circumstances and said, who's the better team here? It's Jacksonville. All you need them is to win by 1 point at home. Prime time teaser opportunity. And listen, this Washington team comes in here. There are 32 teams in the NFL. They are number 32 in total defense, giving up 397 yards a game. They cannot stop the run either. Maurice Jones-Drew last week had his streak of 6 straight 100 yards rushing games snapped. And one of the reasons I didn't use Jacksonville as anything other than a free play is he had missed a couple of days of practice last week going into the Indy game because of a sore knee. I don't think he was that healthy last week, even though he said you can't blame the knee. Listen, he only had 15 carries and 46 yards rushing against an Indianapolis rushing defense that's as bad as Washington's. I think now with the week coming back, they rebound here. They rebound strong. And you're right, this is a great teaser possibility, at least open up one end of that teaser. And I'm sure as we run down the rest of the games, we'll find another one. And by the way, in the second half of the hour, just to let James know, who's calling from Richmond, Virginia, we will be picking up with you immediately as he wants to talk about one of the more interesting games on the board. The Colts, now winners of 2 in a row, taking on a Raiders team that still is alive, needs a lot of help from some other teams, but still alive in that AFC West race. A team that, generally by the 4th week of the season, the last 3 or 4 years, they've been out of the race, and the season's over.
Doesn't take people long to jump on that Colt bandwagon after a win.
My God, yeah, exactly, because you look at the prices in this game, and, you look at Indianapolis, and yet they're only a 3-point choice. So I think it's something to consider. We will be picking up with James, as I said, in the second half hour, and we've got a lot of other great games to run down. I want to talk about that New England-Buffalo game. There's a team, the Patriots have absolutely owned the Buffalo Bills over the years, and yet they did not play well Sunday night against Green Bay. Is it a case that, this team peaked a little too early? Was it just one of those cases where the Patriots knew on Sunday night Aaron Rodgers wasn't playing and they let down a little? Well, Matt Flynn almost screwed them in that game.
Absolutely.
And the Packers, it was a great game for them. So all that and more we'll talk about in our second 30 minutes. Remember, if you happen to be watching us on foxsports.com, you can catch the second half hour of the show over on picknation.com. Make sure you take advantage of the one-day free all-access pass to get my plays, Steve's plays, and all the plays of all 13 handicappers for free over a $500 value. No strings attached. That's right available over on picknation.com. I'm Al DeMarco along with Steve Budin, and we're going to take a very brief break, and we'll be back with you in just a moment.